Hello and welcome back to my channel. First off, I would like to apologize for my lack of recent uploads. With college ramping up its course load, my work ramping up its workload, as well as just the overall chaotic stuff that comes along with being a parent, an adult, with adult and parent responsibilities, I haven't had as much time that I would like to dedicate to video creation. So I just want to give you an update on my channel. Some future uploads will be my Atlanta for my Cities Explored playlist video, possibly a Dark Souls 3 playthrough video, and maybe my Shadow of the Erdtree video as well. If you guys have any interest in any of those videos or have any other ideas, please let me know in the comments below. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the actual purpose of this video. This video is a culmination of inspiration from many YouTube videos, including Geography King's video on ranking the 50 states. It's in part inspiration, but also a disagreement from the ranking systems. First off, I want to say that I fully respect Geography King as a video creator and fellow geography nerd, and I highly recommend his channel. You really should check out those videos. But the beauty of these types of rankings is that even though we might all be working with objective data, how we interpret the data or how we determine what is and isn't important data to look at is what's subjective about all of this, and this leads to our different rankings. I also remember reading through online lists like the US News and World Report ranking the top 50 states and other similar state sites, and just being baffled with how they even came up with their top picks. So, I decided to make my own, with my own ranking system. I want to preface this explanation of my methodology with a few disclaimers. Number one, I am not an expert. This is not legal advice. This is not expert advice on relocation. There are multiple subjective factors that come into play when deciding where to move. These subjective factors are not listed in my metrics. 2. I am biased. We all are. Our biases are part of the natural human condition. I do, however, try my best to deal with the data as objectively as possible, and without any influence from my personal biases, at least as humanly possible. 3. This is my list. While the data that I am working with is objective, how I rank these things in order of influence and importance is based on my subjective understanding and analysis of said data. Your list might look differently, and I'd advise you to do your own research as well. My methodology works as follows. I have 10 metrics to rank the states. Those metrics being culture and diversity, economy, education, entertainment, freedom, healthcare, infrastructure, political stability, safety, and sustainability. Each of these 10 metrics were then sent out in a poll to people all across the political spectrum to get a tally of what people deemed most to least important. I then added a 1.12 multiplier and a 1.09 multiplier for metrics that I was most confident in the data being displayed. 1.12 being added to most confident, 1.09 being to somewhat more confident, and then the rest were just a 1.0 multiplier, so effectively no multiplier at all. This was used by favoring data collection agencies and such over things like websites that rank the states based on how well they perform in entertainment, and favoring data that is easier to argue is purely objective rather than subjective. Originally, each metric was out of 100 points, with a total of 1,000 points for all metrics combined, but the polling data and the multipliers will act as weight for each metric. After the polling data was averaged and my multipliers were applied, a ranking system is now created for the metrics, from most important and most objective and confident in the data, to least important or least objective and least confident in the data. The first metric is education. This metric will judge a state based on its performance in education. It will look at ACT and SAT scores and percentage of participation. It will look at graduation rates, percentage of the population with a bachelor's degree or technical certification, percentage of the population with an advanced degree, and will have extra weight being applied to graduation rates and bachelor's degrees. The multiplier being applied to education makes the total possible points in this category at 768.32. Freedom. This metric will judge a state based on how well it performs in upholding the rights and freedoms of the people who live there. It will look at how the state performs regarding things such as drug legalization, abortion access, alcohol prohibitions or lack thereof, gambling prohibitions or lack thereof, gun rights / the Second Amendment, the freedom to travel without restrictions from the state, the state's ability to engage in asset forfeiture, incarceration rates for victimless crimes, the state's ranks in freedom of speech on things like how willing are they to engage with book bans, attacks on journalism and the media, and any other limitations on free speech. It will also look at things like freedom of religion, legalization of sex work, and the legalization of assisted suicide. Most of the weight here is being applied to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and LGBT rights. I do want to make note, in the name of transparency, that a lot of these metrics are coming from a website called State of the States, which comes from Cato Institute, a right-wing libertarian think tank that is ranking the states based on freedom, especially in categories such as gun rights, asset forfeiture, incarceration, and all the legalizations of all these different things. But however, abortion access and LGBT rights come from their special interest groups that lobby in favor of those interests. Safety. This metric judges a state based on how safe it is for the people living there. It will look at homicide rates, violent crime rates, traffic fatality rates, accidental death rates, workplace fatality rates, weather-related deaths, and weather-related injuries. Special weight is given to homicide rate and violent crime rate and traffic fatalities. Weather-related deaths and injuries are somewhat downplayed in the interest of not unfairly punishing states for just happening to exist somewhere where weather is more violent. This multiplier being applied means that the total possible points in this category is 708.96. Infrastructure. This metric judges a state by its abundance and quality of infrastructure, so as not to unfairly punish small states or reward large states. The focus has been mostly on quality over quantity. With that in mind, large states still are going to have an advantage here, in that quantity is not entirely ignored. This metric will look at efficiency of water as a utility, how clean the drinking water is, how well the energy sector performs, how well internet and phone services is throughout the state, road quality, percentage of users on public transit, how well the state is connected by rail, both in terms of freight as well as Amtrak and commuter rail, how well the state is connected by airports, and how well the state is connected by shipping ports. Special weight goes towards water cleanliness and efficiency, the energy sector and public transit use. Airports and shipping ports are somewhat downplayed here, especially shipping ports, so as not to unfairly give advantage to large population centers as well as coastal states. This multiplier being applied here means that the total possible points in this category is 683.43. Healthcare. This metric judges a state by the quality of its healthcare. It will look at what percentage of the population is insured, average life expectancy, average infant mortality rate, preventable hospitalization rate, vaccination and immunization rate, and healthcare satisfaction from patient output surveys. Special weight is being applied to life expectancy and infant mortality rates. The multiplier being applied here means that the total possible points in this category is 672. Economy. This metric is tied in points with healthcare. This metric shows how well a state's economy performs. It will look at median income to median cost of living as a ratio, the Gini coefficient, total GDP, GDP per capita, unemployment rate, job growth rate, the diversification of the economy, export numbers, the rate of Fortune 500 companies headquartered in the state, and the percentage of the state's population living under the poverty line, with special weight being given to the cost of living to income ratio and the percentage of the population living in poverty. The multiplier being applied here means that the total possible points in this category is also 672. Sustainability. This metric shows how well a state is performing in sustainability measures to reduce man-made impact on global warming and destruction of our environment and biodiversity. It looked at and accumulated an average ranking based on the studies from the Sustainability Development Report, Master of Public Health Reporting, as well as a study performed by WalletHub and another study performed by the Consumer Affairs Report. There are no special weightings here, and the multiplier being applied means that the total possible points in this category is 669.26. Political stability. This metric shows how well a state is in terms of maintaining an effective and stable government and political environment for the people who live there. It will look at voter turnout, frequency and percentage of legislation passing, judicial independence as ranked by a national attorney and judge organization, surveys polling trust in the state government, how well the state manages its financial resources, how likely the police of the state are going to engage in violence, and frequency and intensity of politically violent protests. Special weight is given to frequency and intensity of political violent protests, as well as special weight being given towards the police when they engage in violence. The multiplier being applied here means that the total possible points in this category is 593. Culture and diversity. This metric judges a state by how diverse it is and how well it provides cultural amenities that don't neatly fit into the entertainment metric. This will look at and accumulate the rankings from World Population Ranking, WalletHub Ranking, and the Visual Capitalist, all of whom look mostly at U.S. Census Bureau data. The multiplier being applied here means that the total possible points in this category is 580.97. Entertainment. This metric judges a state by how well it performs in providing opportunities for a wide array of hobbies and interests. This will look at the number of attractions, of a variety of arts, entertainment, and recreation establishments per capita, as well as total, as well as access to national parks, beach access, and nightlife options. This comes from a WalletHub report, and the multiplier being applied here means the total possible points in this category is 487. If you have any more questions on how the methodology works, please do not hesitate to ask me in the comments or ask me personally in the Discord in my bio. I will also leave a copy of this spreadsheet with the 10 metrics left unweighted so you can cater to this to your own preferences. I will be talking about each state from the lowest on the list to the highest on the list in my next few videos. I will discuss their placements in the metrics, my analysis as to why they are performing the way that they are, maybe a little talk about some unique things regarding the state. I'll talk about its capital, its largest city or cities, and then move on to the next state, so on and so on. This will be a 4-part video series, not including this one. So the first video will be the worst state up to the 35th placed state. The second video will be the 36th placed state to the 24th placed state. The third video will be the 23rd placed state to the 11th placed state. And my final video in this series will be the top 10 and a post-ranking analysis. I will then hold a little contest with a mystery prize regarding this ranking. For anyone who likes this video and is subscribed to this channel, comment what you think the top 10 states will be in order, and comment on a state as a bonus state. This could be the state where you live, or just any state that you have a attachment to, or just like a lot. And whoever is closest in ranking of these 11 total states before the next video in this series comes out will be declared a winner. However, I won't actually disclose who that winner will be until the last video, so as not to have spoilers on these rankings. With all of that said, I want to thank you for watching today's video. I want to thank you for your patience, and I hope that you have learned something, or at the very least you were entertained. I cannot wait to catch you guys in the next video where we will rank the worst state up to the 35th placed state. See you in the next video. Bye!